Hello and welcome to Comic Book Movie Oblivion, the podcast about feature films based on comic books and comic strips that people have stopped talking about. We're your hosts, Jordan and Kumar, that's me.
And me.
And this week we're talking about Sanmao Joins the Army from 1992.
Well, its English title is Sanmao on Campaign.
Yes, I saw that on some box covers with Sanmao on Campaign. And this version...
Opening titles as well in the film itself.
Well, the opening film title... oh, yes.
Not the subtitle, which will get a whole other kettle of fish, which we'll get into.
The subtitle said Sanmao's Army Life.
Yes.
Right, on Campaign, right, okay.
So I guess we could consider that its official English title.
You know what, when the disclaimer came up that said, normally would say, this is a work of fiction, any coincidence... Any
similarities to living people is purely coincidental. The best subtitle ever, it's a fiction. Lucky to have similarities.
Yes. I knew you were in for a wild ride.
That's really as bad as it got, though. I think generally it was fairly comprehensible.
Yes, I think so. They did try to maintain the pantomime, of the comics. Sanmao...
Very little dialogue.
Very little, very rarely speaks.
Like last week as well, actually.
Yes.
Because that had very little dialogue as well.
That's right. In terms of timing, it's interesting because in the comics... Sanmao Joins the Army, those comics were 45 and 46, and then Wanderings of Sanmao were 47 to 49.
Yes.
Then we had the Sanmao Wanderings movie came first.
Yes.
In 49. So it's kind of reverse order. This comes out way later.
Of course, because it was banned for 34 years.
Right, and then comes out the same year that Zhang Leping, the creator, dies.
Yeah, he'd been rehabilitated by that point. Yeah, so he was
rehabilitated. But he died in 92.
Yes.
The same year this movie comes out, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That was an interesting point of fact. Yeah, he was, as mentioned, that he was not allowed to work and was persecuted from about 66 to 76. Mm. But after that, he was officially rehabilitated and eventually actually joined the Communist Party, which he had not been a member of up to that point. Good for him. But I don't think he was ever the same.
Yeah. So these strips are earlier, and we did say we would talk a little bit about these. Oh, and also the Pfeiffer strip was called Monroe. The Jules Pfeiffer strip was called Monroe. And that came out from 51 to 53 after Pfeiffer was drafted. And he came up with this very biting satirical strip about this 4-year-old that gets drafted in the Army.
Amazing.
And the Army refuses to believe that he's 4 years old when he protests and cries and stuff. And they say, no, they send him to the psychiatrist.
Great.
They send him to the chaplain, all this stuff. And
a satire of army bureaucracy. I didn't read it. I noticed that, I didn't read it, but that's well within Pfeiffer's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Whereas...
and it isn't until he cries, weeps, like a 4-year-old, that they can't allow this unmanly man to be in the Army, and they act like they always knew he was 4 years old. And then he's discharged with honors.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, so it was a little bit later. By the way, there's an animated short of the Monroe comics that also won an Oscar.
You know what that means.
A cheat episode on the 8-minute Pfeiffer cartoon. Yeah.
Well, does it even have to be a cheat?
Yeah.
We could do it on the main one.
Yeah. I wonder how shorts were released in 1959 or whatever. Animated shorts. So I guess it would have been previews, tagged onto movies before the feature film. Okay, let's break down these comics a little bit. So the main thing...
Sanmao Joins the Army.
Sanmao Joins the Army. The main thing is that he's really small. He's a little kid. So he actually enlists... he might be listening because he's desperate for money or because he's patriotic.
Yeah, we don't know, and it doesn't really matter.
And it doesn't matter, and they don't tell us why, but he goes to a recruiting office, and the recruiter's like, go away, you're too short. He comes back, this is a 4-panel gag, he comes back wearing stilts, and then the recruiter accepts him, and then as he's walking away, the recruiter's suspicious. But it doesn't matter, now he's in the Army. A lot of the gags are about him being really short, like, for example... the soldiers will pick up a log, 3 men, 2 men, and Sanmao will be on the end, and he'll just be dangling. His feet will be dangling in the air as he's
That's a gag that makes its way into
a lot of these gags are in the movie.
He can't... the one which we mentioned last week where he can't lift the hammer.
Yes, and he plops right over.
There's another one where he's so short he's able to reach through when they're held up by a Japanese soldier. Him and another soldier he's able to reach through the taller soldier's legs and grab the foot of the Japanese soldier and tip him over.
Yeah,
and capture him.
Yes,
that gag also makes it into the movie.
Yes. For example, there's ones where he puts. Some of them are not Super Army related, but he puts on this hat. Like one of those broad hats, and it lifts him up like a kite, like the wind lifts him up into the air.
That's a good one.
There's all sorts of... A lot of them are about him being exhausted, so he'll volunteer to help somebody that's carrying some buckets, and then he'll become so exhausted that he has to have ride on in the bucket. Yes,
that is. It's essentially it's the more of being small, I suppose. He's just a kid, and not a particularly robust one.
That's right.
So yeah, he'll read a big character poster that says everyone needs to pull together in the war effort, and then he sees a peasant carrying a pole across his shoulders. He's going to help him out, and the next thing you know, the peasant has to carry him.
Yes. Yes.
And a similar one, he starts helping a soldier carrying a similar pole across his shoulders. He gets tired, piles his uniform and rifle in the basket, notices that the basket is now tipping over because one end is weighted too heavily, so he gets in the other end and goes to sleep.
Yes. Yes. There's one where he's in training, he stabs a bale of hay with a bayonet, and then he goes right through it.
Yes. Makes it into the movie.
Yes, and...
there's ones that I mentioned last week where he puts on his false... he's so short that his other fellow soldiers are getting sniped and he's fine, and he's able to shoot.
Because they're shooting over his head.
Yep.
One time he puts his helmet on a pole or something, and when he pulls it down, it's full of holes. Yep. But he uses the shower. He fills it with water and goes to the stream, and it's like showering on his head.
That's in the film. Another one, his uniform doesn't fit. He's often having to deal with his uniform being too large for him. So sometimes he'll alter it and it looks ridiculous. Another time, his belt's too large, so he puts a wicker basket inside his shirt.
Yeah.
And then all the other soldiers are astounded that he's so fat now.
Yeah.
And another one, he which I mentioned last week, he makes a false torso out of straw and carries it around on his shoulders. Then when he encounters the enemy, they shoot the false torso.
That's right.
He survives and is able to shoot them instead.
Yeah.
Sanmao is killing people in these comics.
Yes, absolutely. There's one strip, this is another aspect of them, is they're super violent. There's one where there's a notification that these 4 rice thieves are going to be executed, and Sanmao's like, they don't deserve 4 bullets. So he says, line them up, and he shoots the 4 rice thieves with 1 bullet that goes through them in a row. And kills them all that way.
One of at least 2 strips where Sanmao shoots multiple people with a single bullet.
Yes.
Because he does the same thing to 2 enemy soldiers when he hides inside a haystack, which is another gag that makes it into the film, and reminded me a bit of the similar scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where Indy shoots a whole row of German soldiers with the same pistol.
That's right.
It's like a Luger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's a coincidence. But it was in Sanmao, the comic first, way back in the 40s. Yeah. So Spielberg ripped off him.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another one where a civilian has his watch stolen by a Japanese soldier. And Sanmao throws a grenade at this Japanese soldier, and it blows the guy's arm off.
Yep.
So the dismembered hand is sitting in front of him with the watch on it. He takes the watch back to base. Base, I think, gives him a medal.
Does he take it to the owner? Or he takes it to somebody, and they give it to him as a reward. They give it to him as a reward,
and it doesn't fit on his wrist, so he wears it on his neck.
He wears a wristwatch around his neck because his neck's so skinny. Now, you might think someone's hand getting blown off and then desecrating the dead by stealing it off them would be a bit too macabre to make it into this movie from 1992. No, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
There's a severed hand landing in people's laps, and one of the soldiers takes a ring off it and desecrates a corpse.
One of the ones that's not in the movie, because there's only about 120 of these total in the comics. There's about 120 strips of varying length. Some of them are 4, some of them will go to 12 panels or something like that.
Rarely. Commonly it's 4, isn't it?
Usually it's 4 or 5. And there's one where Sanmao's in a trench with the soldier, and the soldier is defeathering this chicken or something, and Sanmao's like grossed out by it.
It's called plucking.
Pluck it, sorry. Yes. Okay, he's plucking chicken. And Sanmao's like freaked out by this. He thinks it's gory. But then there's an enemy attack, and he points his gun like out of the trench and shoots the soldier dead. And then he goes up on land, and he's standing with one foot on the dead soldier's chest with the blood like oozing out of him.
That's a funny strip. That one I liked. Might be my favourite. Because he can't stand the sight of a chicken being plucked, but he just straight up shoots the soldier walking by.
Yes. Okay, another one, a theme I've written down is there's hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we talked about the spitting one last week. There's a sign that says no spitting. A soldier is spitting next to it. Sanmao tells him off. The soldier rips the sign off the wall and runs off, and in disgust, Sanmao spits on the ground after the soldier. Another one is, for example, I think he finds some matches or something, and a soldier takes them, but there's a sign that says no smoking, and the soldier's smoking as he walks away.
Yeah.
Another thing is
he finds cigarettes on the ground.
Yeah.
Picks them up, happy because he's found cigarettes.
Yeah.
Great. He doesn't smoke, but he can presumably trade them. Then a soldier, points to a sign, no smoking, takes them off and walks away smoking.
That's it.
Yeah, lots of hypocrisy. Yeah, skewering hypocrisy, skewering the.
He works hard for no reward. Often, for example, he carries this heavy watermelon for this officer. He's sweating. He's exhausted. The officer cuts the thing up into a million pieces. Big fat officer, and eats the whole thing and doesn't give any to Sanmao.
Yep.
Or he's like cleaning the officer's shoes and he's sweating, so some sweat gets on the shoes and he gets beaten by the officer.
Yeah.
For this.
That's right.
It's this kind of thing that many of these strips are about him working very hard. He works for the officer's family. He has to carry the officer's son on his shoulders.
Makes it into the film.
Yeah.
Having to care for the officer's family.
Yes.
Yeah, so the bad behaviour of his superiors, inefficiencies, and bureaucratic incapability in the army, hypocrisy of both, of Sanmao himself, but especially of his fellow soldiers.
Yes. He is sometimes incompetent, like when he's building a barbed wire fence, he ends up fencing himself into it. He just builds the fence around himself without realizing it.
Makes it into the film.
Or at one point he rips his pants on something and then he's darning them in the trench while the bullets are flying overhead. So he's not
he's also
excluded.
finding shortcuts and things as well. Yeah, he's absolutely not excluded.
Yeah.
He's mischievous. He's still mischievous at this stage.
That's right.
Sanmao. I'm trying to pronounce Sanmao. I'm not doing the Cantonese pronunciation anymore. I'm trying to pronounce it the Mandarin way. What else? He cooks. There's one where he cooks soup in his helmet.
Yes. And then he...
This one's just a gag comic. They play reveille or they play the bugle to let him know that they have to put on their gear and assemble. He tips out the soup, puts it on his head, it burns his head.
Well, what I actually laughed at like that was he has a bowl of soup or something and there's a fly in it. So he goes and gets like some bug spray and he sprays it into the soup, kills the fly, eats the soup, and then he keels over. I quite like that one.
There's one where he's given an army cap and for once this cap fits, but when he takes it off he notices that it's pressed down his 3 hairs. He's looking at himself in the mirror and he doesn't like that. So he cuts a hole in the top of his hat so the 3 hairs can stick out the top. Then, the big fat officer wanders by, sees him with a hole in the top of his hat, berates him, and then issues him with an alternative hat, which is a steel helmet.
Yeah.
And he's looking very miserable under this heavy helmet.
Yeah. Yes. And I just want to mention the very final strip when he's demobilized he's discharged from the army.
Did we mention this last week? I don't recall, but it's quite an arresting image.
Yeah, the final panel of this whole series of strips is him standing at a fork in the road. It's a V. Mm-hmm. And
V for victory.
There's fields and fields of crosses of dead bodies. And way off in the distance of one fork, you see a devastated village, countryside. Yeah. And way, way, way on the other side, you see a devastated city. And he's standing at the crossroads, literally, and there's kind of this hellscape on either end, paved with corpses, almost literally.
Yeah.
And it's like, which one is he going to choose to go into the future?
That's it. Well, it's not much of a choice, is it? The consequences of war. Great panel.
Yeah.
Really excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, crosses are not a traditional symbol for death in China, but Zhang is fond of using
Did you say
them.
he was using them for something else last week?
Yes.
To symbolize something else?
The 10, the number 10.
Right, of course, yes, because that is the 10 in Chinese and Japanese. Any other of these strips you want to talk about?
I think we've covered them pretty comprehensively.
Okay.
They're quite funny.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah. I like these ones more than the non-themed ones, I would say. I think having a kind of cohesive theme of the army gave it a bit more shape that I liked. Okay, let's get to this movie.
Yeah.
Directed by Zhang Jianya.
Yep.
Starring this guy named Jia Lin.
Yeah.
Who only has 4 credits on IMDb. I don't know how accurate that is for
that's what
this
I thought
obscure
too,
Chinese
looking at it.
actor.
He could have been in all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
IMDb's not going to know.
Yeah. He's a bit older than the kid we had last week, who I think was 9 years old. Wang Longji was 9.
That's right.
This guy seems, I'm going to say 12, based on the extended frontal nude scene we get of this very tall child.
Yeah.
That maybe shouldn't have been in this movie.
We had it in... Yeah, he seems a little old. He's preteen or possibly even a boyish teenager.
Not short enough for the role. Also for some of these gags, because they tried to reproduce a lot of these gags on screen.
That's essentially what this film is. An extended reproduction of gags from the comic.
Something really struck me this week, Jordan, which is that I think comics and cinema are really different art forms. I was watching this going,
my God.
Boy,
you heard it here, guys.
There's something about when you see 4 panels on a page and your eye can see the whole thing, but you can see the punchline before you read the punchline.
Yeah.
And here they've tried to reproduce these gags, and there's like 4 or 5 cuts in there, which is kind of like a comic. Like he reaches down, he grabs the Japanese soldier's leg from between his Chinese soldier's legs, then Chinese soldier punches a Japanese soldier, a Japanese soldier falls over. There's like 5 cuts in here.
Yeah. And they're trying to...
And I'm thinking... It's interesting because last week we had some reproductions of gags and they worked.
Yes, they did.
And I was thinking, okay, so we're going for, slapstick and pratfalls here. And I'm thinking of Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Harold Lloyd again, and how universal those silent slapstick movies were to the extent that they influenced that 1949 movie and Jackie Chan's entire career in the 80s.
It's unsurprising that you thought of them because we have a sequence at the beginning of this film that deliberately apes the silent movie.
Yes,
Buster
it's
Keaton.
done in a sepia tone with silent movie title cards instead of voices.
Yeah. I must admit, I kind of liked this sequence.
Kind of, but the way it was cut, these gags were not cut in any way that were funny. They were cut in a very clumsy, choppy way that did not take any lessons from those masters and seemed to maybe look at the comic strips and were like 4 panels,
100%.
4 panels, therefore we'll have 4 cuts in this thing. I don't know what...
Yeah, I think that's what's happening here. He's using he's probably not using them as storyboards.
Yeah.
The way Glenn Danzig did for Veronica. But I would say that he's using them as direct inspiration, as trying to reproduce shots as closely as he can. Yeah. But it just, as you pointed out, it just doesn't work. 4 cuts is too many in like a 5-6 second
The whole way those gags work, you see Harold Lloyd hanging off a clock. They're not cutting 7 times. We're watching this guy dangle precariously. This is why the tension builds up and works. Is the whole thing is one... Yeah, it was driving me a little bit crazy as the movie went on. Anyway, so we get a voiceover, which is throughout the movie. Sometimes it explains the jokes as they're happening. Then Sanmao fell in the mud, and his face was covered in mud. This is the VO's telling us this. Is very strange. So it tells us that we're in 1937. The music in many sections of the movie is this weird, it's like European classical music played through a synthesizer.
Bizarre.
Strange choice.
It's like Bach Hall of the Mountain Kings playing in this
Yes.
sequence.
Yeah. But like a synth 80s version.
It sounds like stock music.
Yeah. A weird choice. I mean, I don't know what is this. Is now the time to ask the
feels
question, what is the purpose of this movie? Are we trying to stir up some sort of nationalistic fervor or not? If you are, this is your wrong music choice.
It's not the right point in Chinese history for that kind of movie in the
Yeah.
early 90s. No, this is just meant to entertain, I think. But this music seems like placeholder music
Yeah.
that they have from a music library. It
Yes.
sounds like this.
Yes.
It sounds like when I used to have an electric keyboard when
Yeah.
you would play the demo.
Yes. Yes. Like the Casio demo. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
It was really crap.
Yeah. Yeah. This kid, our actor, Jia Lin, he's got like maybe prosthetic ears on or
He does.
something.
He
Yeah.
does have
and have
prosthetic
they
ears.
given a bit of a nose, like a
I think
twist on
so,
his nose?
but
Yeah.
it certainly looks better.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I must say, and his hair also looks better than the.
Yeah,
his
because he doesn't have the
hairs.
tuft on top. He's got just the three
Yes, and
braids,
it doesn't look
maybe
as
almost.
unpleasant and ropey as the ones
Yeah.
did in 49.
Yeah, well, that guy was sleeping rough, so
Yeah,
kind of can't.
fair.
He doesn't have army hair, let's say. Okay, so what happens is he's chasing. There's some samurai. There's some Japanese dressed in kimono walking down the street
And top knots.
and top knots. And Sanmao's like going to make fun of them, ridicule them. So he follows them and he takes off his sandals to throw them. And they turn around to look at him before he does it. And he throws it and he hits a cop. And the cop chases him in this Keystone Cops
Yes.
sequence.
Yeah.
And they've even altered that frame rate kind of so it looks like
speed
it's
it
sped up. And there's a big chase, and at the end of it, the cop ties up Sanmao, but Sanmao, there's an army recruiter right there, and
Yeah.
Sanmao's like, I want to join the army. It seems to be...
To get away from the
To get away
process.
from the cop.
Yep.
Yeah, to get away from being arrested. This is his motivation. And in this case, they don't refuse him because of his height. Initially, he won't give his real name. He just says Sanmao.
Well, he says he gives his name as Yue Wenmu,
Yeah.
who is a famous general from
Right.
the Song dynasty.
Okay, like legendary hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we've got a little bit of dialogue as well, where or a voiceover which talks about Chiang Kai-shek giving a speech about a country full of George Washingtons.
Right, yeah. He's going to turn all these civilians into George Washington, or all
Yeah.
these recruits into George Washington.
Yes, and so Yue Wenmu would be a more native equivalent
Yeah.
to a George Washington
Yeah.
type figure, although he wasn't a political figure per se. He was a general.
Right. So he says, yeah, I'm Wumu, and they make fun of him for that, and then
Yeah.
he says, I'm San Mao, and then finally, I think they say San Wumu, or so. Anyway, finally they accept him.
Yeah, they accept.
He doesn't have to fake his height or anything in his version.
Here we don't. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't because that's ridiculous. So here we I guess we were talking about the big lie a few weeks ago. The big lie here is that people just accept that San Mao is
of age?
of
He's
age.
like 16 or whatever he
no one
recruitment
can
age
see.
is?
It's like the movie Coneheads, where no one remarks on the fact that everyone has a gigantic 2-foot high cone
Right,
on top of their
okay.
head.
Yeah.
Here, no one cares or remarks that San Mao is clearly 12 years old.
Yeah.
They just treat him like a small, lazy soldier.
Yeah, yeah. So now we switch to color. The movie tries to do some visual tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one point where he bangs his head, and then we get like stars and stuff, animated stars and stuff floating around his head. And there's a few more we might talk about as we go through. Maybe not enough to be consistent. It's very weird when they show up randomly.
That beginning sequence had one where he looks at the shoes that the Japanese samurai guys are wearing, and we see the dotted line
Yes.
come out of it like it did in Old Boy.
Yeah. Yes.
Except it's but this is the only time anything like that happens. Except
Well, stuff like that does happen randomly throughout the...
very seldomly, and it's all in the first half of the movie. We do get dream sequences too, though.
Yeah, there are dream
It's just,
sequences.
I think this movie's tone is all over the place.
Oh, yes.
So I think the director, Zhang Jianya, no
Yeah.
relation,
Yeah.
can't really make up his mind what kind of... I mean, it's meant to be a comedy.
Yeah.
But also there's what kind of comedy it's supposed to be. He can't quite figure it out. I think part of the problem is that there's no story per se. There's no plot.
Yeah.
He's set out to cram as many of these 120 strips into the film as possible. And is the
assumption that the audience has not read any of these strips?
I can't imagine. I think the purpose of the film is... Well, you were asking what's the purpose of the film. I think the purpose of the film is for people to see Sanmao strips on screen.
But is it people who've already read all
People
those
have already read them, yeah. I don't think this film would, I think, is a bit of a struggle to get through if you don't know about the strips.
I think it's a struggle if you do know the strips. If you know every strip, as I did this, before I watched it, and then watched it, I'm like, this is poorly executed compared to what we had in the comic.
Well, a less discerning viewer might enjoy seeing these antics and these strips that they recognise.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we get a basic training montage once he's in the army.
Yeah.
There's a whole theme song going here, like a 1992 pop song about life in the army playing over this montage.
Yep. And a lot of Sanmao gags make it in here.
Right, like he tries to lift a cinder block and ends up falling over.
Yep.
Or one where he shoots a rifle and he misses the target completely, but then a bird falls out of the sky.
Yes.
That's a strip, and that's here in this basic training montage.
Another one where he throws a grenade. He struggles to throw a grenade. That's another one. There's a strip of that where he essentially goes backwards and doesn't go off. The exact same thing happens.
Yeah. Bayonet in the hay is in here.
Jammed
He gets stuck
through
in the
straw dummy.
Yep.
It's all there. There's some quite jacked extras.
Oh, yeah. Where'd they find these guys?
Well, they're not actors because none of them get any lines.
Right.
So they've got them from...
they went to the gym and
they got them from the gym or from the local, Shaolin.
It was kind of good. It was good because it contrasted because they didn't get a kid that was small enough. Yeah. So you got these hugely jacked guys, these swole guys that are with their shirts off
to make the contrast with Sanmao, and also with the only other actor who plays an old soldier,
his old buddy. He befriends this guy that's really also old and weak and shouldn't be in the trenches, but he is.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the Japanese are planning the takeover of China by having these ladies in kimono bring them a cake in the shape of China,
which they then all
are going to carve up.
This is a well-known image.
Yeah, right.
From cartoons, of course.
Yes.
There are a lot of cartoons from the late 19th, early 20th century about the colonial powers carving up China.
Of course,
and most of them use food analogies.
Yeah.
So
not even colonial power. I would say across cultures, across the world, every political cartoonist at some stage has probably done a carving up the cake gag where the cake has the name or the shape of the country. Yeah.
I did a quick Google.
Okay.
And I found like 3 or 4 without even trying.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and without even finding ones that I personally remember from studying Chinese history, like 20 years ago or whatever. So I'll put some on the Reddit maybe.
Cool. What I will say is that anytime you see the Japanese planning, it's because the movie has run out of gags to shift into the next section.
Just reminding us that this is the second Sino-Japanese War.
It kind of plugs in a little bit of a narrative piece, a set piece, that will allow some sort of plot, vaguely, some structure, some lattice work.
That's right.
That this movie can move on to.
There's no plot, but broadly speaking, it's about... Well, we know that the year is 1937, so that's the beginning of the Second Sino-Japanese War, and that it's probably about the Battle of Shanghai when the Japanese and Chinese fought over Shanghai, and Shanghai was occupied by the Japanese in 1937.
Right.
But we don't really see... actually, they splice in a lot of stock footage.
Yes, they do.
Well.
Yeah, that's
so as well as this guys with Japanese guys or Chinese actors pretending to be Japanese with Hitler mustaches. They all have Hitler mustaches, which is something from
every Chinese movie with a Japanese person in it
absolutely,
has some
but
crazy
also
hair.
Zhang's comics, he would often show Japanese officers with that little mustache. Yes, so along with that framing device, we also director Zhang has put in a lot of stock footage from the conflict or from the 1930s or 1940s. Like troops marching, bombs. Like, some of it kind of quite arresting.
Yes.
Upsetting.
I agree. It's interesting too because it's part of the tonal problem we're having. You mentioned another thing is some of the outdoor stuff is outdoors and some of it's on sets that are made to look like outdoors. They look like that little Abner movie we did where they built trees on a stage.
Whoa. How am I supposed to remember that? That was like the third movie we did.
Yeah. But that's weird too. Like, why is that outdoor scene shot on a lot and why is this one shot... I couldn't tell what the restrictions were on.
Doesn't seem... Yeah. But this war footage, essentially, what is this doing in this children's... what is ostensibly a children's movie?
Yes. Agreed.
We got quite a bit of war footage.
Yeah. Now we go back to more just army stuff, which is basically filling gags.
Yeah.
For example, there's one where he's digging in the trench, and it's really hard work for Sanmao, and he lifts the shovel and ends up flinging mud into the face. Yeah, you're right.
This is more just a slapstick gag that they wrote for the film. That one's not adapted from a strip near as I could tell.
That one is the shovel in the trench.
I didn't read that one then.
Well, I watched the movie. I was like, oh, that's a new one. And then I went back into the comics today. I was like, oh, there it is.
Great.
That happened many times. Sometimes there's a very few sequences in this movie that are completely invented.
What about the USO show?
Oh, this is the only episode of this podcast where I've written the word erection binoculars in my notes.
You know what? Yeah, well, I wrote binoculars equals mokori.
Yes. Yes. See, there's this USO show with these chorus line girls.
There's nothing like this in the strips, right?
No, 100%
Do you know what this is? The fact that it's set on a river.
Yeah.
Oh
my God! Yeah.
And it's all lit up. It's at night, and it's all lit up with lights.
Yes.
Do you think director Zhang watched Apocalypse Now?
I sure do. It really felt like Apocalypse Now. I think the routine is pretty tame.
It's a lot more chaste than the one in Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's quite chaste, but it's tamer. I mean, these girls are wearing very short shorts and like fishnet stockings, but it's not like super sexualized. But the guys are going crazy. Sanmao has to cover his eyes. He can't handle this level of sexuality.
And we see two officers wearing binoculars.
And the binoculars like float into... Now, this is why we're talking about the weird things that happen, like the dotted line. That come out... That comes
it's the only time something like this happens.
Right, is the floating... Yeah, but this is the thing, is there's these occasional weird gags that make it... I think he thought he was making something cartoony by having this stuff in here.
Oh, it's like Joel Schumacher yelling, "You're in a cartoon."
Yeah. Like, oh, this is what a comic is. We can have floating binoculars to represent erections.
But there's nothing like that in Sanmao.
No, it's...
Sanmao does cover his eyes sometimes when he sees... Because he's a kid, when he sees adults kissing or being affectionate, he does cover his eyes. There's one weird as hell strip, where he sees a soldier, like, threading a flower into... a woman's hair, and he's covering his eyes, Sanmao is, and then when he gets closer, he notices that both soldiers are men.
Were they both men or both women? Either way, it was
they're both effeminate men, or...
Yeah.
Well, they can't be women because they're soldiers. No female soldiers in the army in the 1930s and 40s, in the Chinese army. But, what?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what to make of that game.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I think it's just meant to be a spit take that, I don't need to cover my eyes because it's not a man and a woman, it's just two friendly boys.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. I think
it's as close as any Sanmao comic comes to a sex joke, as far as I can tell.
Yes, but after the dancing girls, who you think would be the climax of the USO show, instead we get this... Yue Wum, Chinese opera kind of thing happens. And then Sanmao has this fantasy, this dream sequence.
Of him
one of the couple of dream sequences in the movie.
Yep.
Where in this one, he imagines that he is Yue Wumu.
Yeah. The great general from the 12th century.
And he's like this great warrior, very tall, whatever.
Oh, the kid can do Peking opera as well.
That's right.
So he's probably... grown up in a troupe like Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung and that, and has been made to...
Yeah.
do gymnastics from a very young age.
Yeah.
Because he knows all the moves and he can spin the spear around.
By the way, did you see on the Wikipedia for Sanmao that Sammo Hung named himself after Sanmao?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What? Are you serious?
I don't know how accurate that is. It's on the English Wikipedia page. But apparently he picked his name, Sammo, from...
Sanmao. That's what it is in... Oh, wow. I had no idea. There is a famous... if you'll let me open a tab.
Yeah.
There's a famous author.
Yeah.
Called Sanmao.
Okay.
It was the pen name of a woman author from Taiwan.
Okay.
Whose name was Echo Chen. This was the only connection to Sanmao I knew about before we started.
Got it. Okay.
Where I started doing research for this, but she wrote a very she was quite a very well regarded late 20th century or second half of the 20th century Chinese author. She wrote Stories of the Sahara, and she was known as the Desert Wanderer. I asked my mother-in-law, who was born in Hong Kong, for her perspective about Sanmao, the comic. She'd never heard of it.
Interesting.
But she had heard of the author.
Interesting.
Because my mother-in-law is a cool person.
Very interesting. Yeah, so... we get the sequence here where he's hiding in the hay bale, and he shoots the 4 soldiers, and the bullet goes through all of them.
Yep.
And then he gets a medal, and it's this giant medal. Now, in the comic, when he gets the giant medal, it makes sense as a gag.
Yeah.
Because he's this little guy. The medal is the size of... It's basically from his feet to his neck. It's this giant thing. And it is oversized, but he's really little as well. Here it's weird. It looks so weird.
It seems like a dream sequence.
It does seem like a dream sequence.
And I couldn't tell if this was a dream sequence or not.
Right.
Which is not a great thing you want to happen in your movie.
Yeah. We get like him trapping himself in barbed wire, ripping his pants, all that kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, the dancing girls throw out gift bags to the audience. And we get a gag here, which is from the comic, where one of the things in there is a comb, which of course he doesn't need because he's only got 3 hairs.
That's right. That's right. Is this when we get our male full frontal nudity?
Yeah, at some point here, his helmet gets shot up full of bullet holes, but it's not clear why in this version. The bullets go through. He just puts
his head up above the trench, maybe because the helmet's too big for him, that it has a lot of
it doesn't look quite
room.
right.
No, it doesn't look right. So his helmet, he needed to put it up on a stick, I agree. It said he puts it up with his head in it. So it gets shot full of holes, but his head was in it.
Yeah.
My explanation in my head was, it's because his helmet's too big for him. But his head would still sit way up inside it. It would just come down over his face.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense, I agree. But it's so we can get... Why not just put it on a stick? You've been way too accurate in your adaptation in other examples.
Yeah.
So then he does go down to the...
He catches a fish because of a grenade that goes off or something. He catches this huge fish.
That's another strip gag.
Yeah.
Although slightly changed.
Yeah.
He's showering. He's like buck naked, and then the enemy starts shelling the pool.
Yeah. The dead fish speaks to him.
Yeah.
By the way, it's another one just with these
cool.
weird touches that happen here and there.
Just bizarre,
surreal stuff that just happens once in a while.
Yeah, but it's not consistent enough. It just happens.
That's right.
In the middle of your slapstick movie.
Yeah.
Or where interspersed with your war footage and images of Japanese people devouring a cake shaped like China, and also a scene played completely serious where a bunch of men volunteer for a suicide mission.
Yes. Well, they have to draw lots.
Oh yeah, that's right, they draw lots.
Yeah. And the lots say "Dare to Die" on them. This is in the strips as well.
Yes, it is in the strip, yeah. So that scene is played really seriously, I suppose, because director Zhang has remembered that he's shooting a film that's about what in Chinese is known as the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, which is... It's a sensitive subject in China.
Sure.
It's used very prominently as a means to... kind of like how the Second World War is used in modern Russia, as a means to legitimize authority by saying... And as a kind of a spur to nationalism.
Yeah. In
the modern era, the Chinese Communist Party still governs China, but China is completely uncommunist in virtually every way. So the party kind of has this crisis of legitimacy. how does it validate the fact that a communist party is still in charge of China while not engaging in communist policies and practices? Well, what modern China does is talks constantly about the threat from foreigners and how only the Communist Party can keep China safe. Foreigners just want to divide China, want to invade China, want to make China weak. Only the Communist Party can keep you safe. They constantly refer back to the Second Sino-Japanese War for that reason. And they were doing it in the 90s, but it was less prominent then than it is now.
Right. Just before we get to the drawing of lots, I just wanted to mention that the platoon leader dies in the trench, and he gets thrown up into space, and that's also done as this cartoony thing.
Yeah.
Like a Looney Tunes kind of
Nothing else like that happens.
Well, we keep saying nothing like that happens, but yes, nothing
specifically like that.
But I'm trying to think, like we mentioned Old Boy, and that's a thing where random shit you never know what you're going to get. Things would only happen one time, like the eyeball thing. In fact, earlier, Tarantino had done in Pulp Fiction where, Uma Thurman says, "Are you a square?" And she does a little square gesture, and you get the lines on screen or something. It can be done. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is all in.
The whole film, all in. I suppose it's because it can't make up its mind about what kind of things are going to be in it and what aren't.
I think maybe my problem is maybe because the slapstick's not funny, it's not carrying you enough to forgive, or not forgive, just accept these bizarre things when they happen. Maybe, I'm trying to figure out why it's not working.
Well, what's the purpose of the surrealism? I mean, here, the purpose of it is to be funny. That's not what the purpose was in Old Boy, or in Pulp Fiction, for that matter.
Yeah.
The thing about all of these interjections, these surreal interjections, is we're supposed to laugh at them. And the fact that we don't laugh at them is probably the reason why they're so irritating and seem out of place.
Yeah.
He shoots off into the sky as a Looney Tunes thing because that's supposed to be a funny gag.
Yeah.
He sees like literal stars, with the line going around his head when he gets bonked on the head again. We're supposed to find that funny like we would if we watched a Looney Tunes cartoon, but we don't because the execution is poor and it's in a film that's full of war footage.
Yes, actual war footage as well. Yeah. And sometimes in these trench scenes we get actual stunts where stuntmen are being thrown up in the air when a grenade goes off or something. So this platoon is put together to take out this Japanese artillery position.
Yep.
And this happens in the comic where Sanmao's actually by himself, and he puts all these grenades and stuff onto a water buffalo and sends it into the enemy position. And he thinks it's worked, but then he's shot at again, and he's like, "Oh, it didn't work." And he goes there and he finds that the enemy troops have
eaten the
buffalo
and got drunk and are now napping, and then he's able to capture them all.
That's right.
And then he becomes a war hero because of that.
Yeah.
All of this makes it into the film.
Yes, but this time it's a whole group of them.
Yes,
that
not just
do
it.
It's
in a comic again. What works in a 4-panel strip does not work in a film. It seems awful and cruel. They tie real fireworks to this cow's tail.
Oh, by the way, there was a strip we didn't mention. Talking about the violence, where Sanmao's with his horse, and the horse is exhausted, so he lets the horse rest. And he sits down next to it, and he's in tears because of his sympathy for the horse. And then some soldier shows up and gives him an order to go somewhere and do something. And he goes away with he comes back, and all that's left is the soldiers sitting around the bones that have been picked clean of the horse. Wild.
Yeah.
That's the whole story. That's the punchline, is that the horse that he cared so much about is
They cared.
dead.
Yeah, they ate it.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted... Sorry, could I... Just to go back to the fucking cow, or bull, or whatever it is that they've tied hand grenades to its horns.
Yeah.
Sent it off the hill. Again, we have some more of this whack synth classic.
Yes.
And here it's Toreador from Carmen.
Yeah.
So, da-da-da-da, the Bullfighters song.
Yeah.
So,
Played on a Casio.
As a scene, it does not work.
Yeah. So after the success of this mission, Sanmao was sort of promoted to assistant to one of the officers.
Yeah.
And
he's
now,
like a Batman.
Now we get him taking care of everyone, including he has to wipe the kid's ass, the son's ass, in a crazy scene. This kid is old enough to wipe his own ass.
Yeah, but he's the officer's son, so
Right.
we established in a strip that Sanmao was made to carry
Yes.
like the officer's son, made to do jobs that he shouldn't have to do because of the corruption.
He's
of officers.
he's worked to the bone. He has to push the rickshaw, which I think was maybe a nod to the previous
Wandering
movie.
Life or to 1949. Yeah.
And the officer's wife, he takes her into town for like a hair appointment. We get a gag here, which I think is invented, because there's a guy on the street that keeps eyeballing her through the salon window.
Yep.
And Sanmao goes out there and pushes his face away,
Yep.
or then moves the shoe shine box where he was getting his shoe shine across the road so this guy can't look in the window.
Yep.
It just as flat as everything else in the movie. It seems like directors tried to come up with a new gag.
Yes.
Here, it's pretty flat.
Is this another new gag? Because I sure as hell didn't see a comic about this.
It's not in the Army ones.
Oh, hang on. I was going to say this, where they're planning in the officers are all planning together, and the commander who Sanmao is the Batman to asks for his
Brain invigorating machine,
brain invigorating machine,
which is a science fictional headband that he puts on and somehow stimulates his brain.
with electricity, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess the way Bruce Lee did his muscles. I don't know. What is this thing?
What is it?
So strange.
No way is that in any strip, right?
No, I did not that I saw.
No one has a brain invigorating machine.
There's not even any ridiculing of officers for being reliant on some sort of weird technology or anything like that in the strips.
No.
There's an air raid while they're in town. And she has gone off to have a tryst with, she's got some secret lover in town.
Yes.
And she tells him, see what you should see, according to subtitles, which means,
Yep.
be blind to what you're not supposed to look at.
Yep.
Her lover says in the English subtitles, look, Sanmao has learned a lot. He covers his eyes. I think it's supposed to say, see, Sanmao's a fast learner.
Yeah.
Anyway, but in the next scene we get a gag from the comics. So this is all stuff that wasn't in the comic. Now we get one where he's outside an officers' meeting and all this delicious food is being brought in. So he covers his eyes so he doesn't look at it, and then he plugs his nose so he doesn't smell it as well.
That is definitely a gag from the comic, isn't it? And I give some credit. It teams with what had just happened.
Exactly.
In the
it does work. There is a flow there. So we get a little bit of army planning. This is where we get the crazy headband. Now we get a crazier sequence. We get a sequence that looks like it came out of Pink Floyd's The Wall, where there's a dance. Like the officers are having a dance. There's a bunch of officers and girls there, but they're all wearing gas masks.
Yeah.
And Sanmao's sitting by the phone with the gas mask on, and he's cut out a hole for his three hairs to come through, which is the kind of thing that happens in the comic, but I don't think there's any gas mask comics.
I don't remember.
But this is all very creepy looking.
And the commander is indecisive and always orders more discussion whenever anyone suggests a course of action. A messenger arrives. Sanmao is acting as the receptionist, I suppose, because the commander's dancing. He's dancing with another, or he's fondling a woman while his wife is dancing with another man. Okay, whatever floats your boat. And Sanmao says, "Send it back for more discussion."
Yeah.
And the messenger says, "It's a dispatch," which I suppose means it's some kind of urgent command from headquarters. So Sanmao takes it to the commander, says it's a dispatch, but the commander says, "Send it back for more discussion." Then the commander...
I think he slaps him at some point or hits him, which is a thing that happens in the comic when he delivers an order that the commander doesn't like.
Yeah.
The commander strikes Sanmao.
Yeah. And then we see the next day, the commander, I think, maybe has lost his position.
Got it. Okay, yes.
And now commands... he's very upset. He says, "Why didn't you tell me it was from headquarters," or what have you. He demands Sanmao bring him booze. He gets drunk, he gets Sanmao drunk. They have a kind of protracted interaction where they talk about being boys.
Yes, I'm a boy and so are you.
This might be the problem with the translation because I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's not funny at all. Then the commander shoots himself.
Yes. Maybe by accident. He points the gun at himself. He points it at Sanmao. He points the gun right at Sanmao. We get a first-person shot from the commander's point of view.
We see it to him turn it around and point it at his face. It goes off, and then we get Looney Tunes style
headline that says Commander knew.
Well, first we get the explosions, right?
Oh,
Bang pow.
No, well, we get that later on. There's a bit where when they paratroop into this location, he's being shot at by enemy fire, but it's laser gun sounds like pew 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 pew.
Oh yeah.
And we get the Looney Tunes explosions. I don't know if that happens here, but we certainly get a headline that. Oh yes, we do. Yeah, okay. We get a spinning headline and a Looney Tunes bang effect, and it says Commander.
And it's his funeral, and we got more slapstick.
Very long funeral sequence.
Slapstick with he has to look after the boy, make the boy bow to the portrait of the deceased. It's falling down. Sanmao has to put it back up. Sanmao falls on the coffin.
Yeah.
They have to carry the pallbearers are disturbed.
None of this is in the comics, and none of it's
funny at all. It's awful.
Yeah. Like, why can't he just get off of there? There was a sequence in the beginning when the cop was chasing him. Some of the workers in the street were doing some sort of thing.
Making a road.
Right. And this officer couldn't get through them. Just go around.
Go around.
Just go around.
It doesn't help that you have a tight focus. We know that he can walk around.
Yeah. More Japanese planning. Oh, now the Japanese attacked this city.
Shanghai, I think.
I think it might be, but did they have thatched roofs in Shanghai at that time? Maybe they did.
In the suburbs.
But we get a gag here where
It's a big city.
a Japanese soldier tries to steal a chicken, and in the hutch hiding is Sanmao, who shoots him in the head.
Right in the head.
Right in the head. And in the comics, it's like you get a kind of Looney Tunes hole in the head, and the bullet passes right through. And we get something similar here.
We do.
Then a Japanese soldier raids this house where Sanmao has run, and this guy's got a Hitler mustache, and he's got this hairy chest. He looks like a werewolf. He got this huge
I could not understand why he had all this hair on his chest, but it becomes obvious later. It's for a lame gag, because it's all going to get ripped off.
It all gets ripped off, but it's also, I think, that there's really this thing in Chinese movies where they have this thing about Japanese body hair or facial hair that's always really weird or very full on.
I thought it might be that, but...
That's what I thought too, but then it is revealed to be a gag where it all gets ripped off. Because this house, for some reason...
It's the Home Alone house.
It's got these tripped out stairs where she could pull like a lever, the stairs will go flat.
It has a catapult kind of set up.
Yep.
Like made of rubber bands or whatever, where you can pull it back and.
There's a girl there that's living in this house. I guess she's tricked this place out because she knows the soldiers are coming.
She's Kevin McAllister.
Yes.
She's tricked out the Home Alone house.
Yeah.
Sanmao runs in and helps her set off the traps, launch rocks. Sanmao has apparently forgotten he's holding a rifle.
Yes. Yes.
So the guy chases them upstairs. She pulls a lever, it turns it into like the slide.
Yeah.
And his hair gets caught in it and it all gets ripped off.
Yes. Then he has this weird pastoral dream sequence about this girl where he's married to her and they have kids.
He's smoking an opium pipe. And
yes. He's riding a buffalo.
The two children have the 3 hairs,
yes.
which I think might have been the only time I laughed out loud in this movie.
Right. Yeah, but then he gets back to base and he's celebrated by the other soldiers. But then they're sent on this paratrooping mission.
Yep.
So they'll get on this plane. They're all scared. There's a weird thing. Oh, we have to see him get air sickness and vomit. I didn't like that.
There's also weird stuff where now we've got puppets.
Yes. So when they hit turbulence or something, or when they dive, they've replaced all the actors with these puppets with these long necks that shoot up, and they have for split-second shots.
Whoop. Yeah, like the necks grow long and then they go back down again.
Yeah.
Like that one He-Man toy that had the neck that goes up. Mecha-neck.
He's in the movie. He's in the new movie.
Like Mecha-neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, nothing like this is... no specific scene where characters are replaced with puppets.
I think it's the problem is the gag, because there's a sequence like this in Takashi Miike's Happiness with the Karikuris where it suddenly turns into claymation. At the very end, out of nowhere. We've never had this before. Or, even movies like House, where just some
that whole film is bonkers.
Just let some random shit happen.
I think it's because all of this is being done for the purposes of comedy and it doesn't land.
Yeah, I think that might be why it's... Maybe it's because none of them are working.
It's a surrealist film where the humour comes from surrealism. It's a slapstick where they've injected cartoonish elements.
Yeah.
Because maybe director Zhang is like Joel Schumacher and thinks that if you base your film on a cartoon,
It's got to have those.
it's got to have wacky cartoon shit in it.
Yeah. So when Sanmao parachutes out of this plane, his parachute is caught in a tree. This is from the strips. And there are wolves. He's surrounded by wolves. But then a Japanese soldier comes up and shoots the wolf and then tries to shoot him out of the tree, but he falls on the soldier's head. This is right straight out of the strips. Then he's got to find his buddy, his old man
The old
buddy.
guy, yeah.
And now we have a sequence which is 6 minutes long of him and his buddy. This is in the last 10 minutes of the movie. The last 6 of the last 10 minutes of the movie are him and his buddy making bird calls and rooster noises.
Was it only 6 minutes? Because it felt like 6 years.
Yeah, it was wild. So first they're just trying to locate each other, fine. But then they're surrounded by Japanese soldiers.
Yep. But they're still making the
are
bird
they
noises.
maybe shell-shocked that they're crazy, they're making rooster noises, but the Japanese
Sanmao
soldiers...
starts making the rooster noise because he's tired.
Right.
And he falls asleep and then he thinks it's morning, so then he does a cock's crow.
Yeah.
And he's not supposed to be making that noise.
Okay.
So... why am I explaining this? So his old buddy is frantically making the normal bird call at him.
Yeah.
And Sanmao just keeps making the rooster call back at him.
Yeah.
Then they're surrounded by the Japanese. Then the Japanese start joining in with the...
Yeah, they think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So they start making bird noises. So the birds, this going on for a very long time. And then the officer's like, stop doing that. He starts making rooster noises with the old guy. And this is enough for Sanmao to distract the soldiers. And also, the old guy somehow convinces the Japanese officer to cut his own throat with his sword.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand quite how he convinced him. He's like, if you want to make the right noise, you gotta cut your throat with your sword or something. I don't know. But this officer's so stupid that he puts his own sword, sharp edge, against his own throat and slices his own throat and kills himself.
Yep. And then Sanmao blows them all up with a hand grenade.
Yeah, so they'll fly up into the trees, they'll land in the branches. They're okay, guys. It's been established earlier that grenades don't really hurt people in this movie anyway.
Except for that one guy whose hand got blown off.
Yes, that's right. But then they live in the forest as Tarzan for 8 years, and they've got gray hair. Crazy. They don't go back to civilization. Instead, they live in the woods for 8 years until the old guy's hair, he's got long gray hair, and Sanmao's 3 hairs have turned white.
Yep.
After 8 years...
And he now has a deep voice, they're old... And you're right, they're now wearing... They seem to have become...
Jungle people?
Jungle people.
Yeah. Yep. And then we learn that 8 years have passed and the war is won.
Yep.
And then I guess he's come back to civilization for some reason.
We get the same ending sequence. The
road with the V.
Crossroads.
Yeah.
With the devastated countryside on one side and the devastated cityscape on the other. Completely unearned to use this image.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then Sanmao looks sadly into the camera and says, "The end." And then a cartoon drawing is drawn over his
him being
face.
sad. I think this is here because everyone knows that the next thing that happens to Sanmao is that he's homeless in Shanghai.
Right.
Which is Sanmao's Wandering Life, which is the most famous iteration of Sanmao's run.
Right. So we've had a prequel situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we do get a line here with a title which says, "In memory of Zhang Leping, father of Sanmao."
Mm-hmm. And 7 other children.
Yeah.
He had 7 kids.
Yeah, right.
At least.
Yeah.
At least 7 kids.
Yeah. And that's it. 90 minutes. 6 minutes of which was bird noises.
Yeah.
Oh, and it also mentioned with the title, some English subtitles gave us the name of the orchestra for some reason.
The Shanghai Film Orchestra. I think that was just for the music played over the finale, which was an actual orchestra playing it.
Okay.
It was just another classical piece, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas the other one, it wasn't one of the synth ones.
Yeah.
All right, there's no trivia about this movie.
I noticed it wasn't even mentioned in Professor Potsy's book.
No.
She doesn't mention this at all.
That's because she cuts off at 40... Well, she...
And that book is 400 pages, that thesis.
It's long. No, she doesn't mention it, you're right. No, she does mention the puppet the puppet adaptation.
Yeah, the stop motion one, yeah.
which apparently Zhang worked on, designed the puppets for.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
As I mentioned last week, yeah.
Good on you reading that.
Well, I didn't read
It's long
it.
as hell.
I really did a search. I was looking for any mention of the director or anything.
Right.
Because we had a picture of Zhang Leping on the set of the first one.
Yeah.
Here, there's no mention of this movie that came out the year he died.
No, it's too separated from the substance of her thesis, basically.
Yeah.
So don't know anything about how this movie got made. Apparently it was successful.
Okay.
Or I guess I can imagine it being successful. It reminds me of the movies I used to watch on SBS in the 90s.
Yeah.
Imagining I was an intellectual.
I don't doubt the success of it because this is a franchise. This is like Batman.
Right.
Or Darna. They just keep coming out.
Yeah.
More TV shows, more movies. Even if one iteration isn't hugely successful, to spawn a direct sequel, which, I mean, how would this spawn a direct sequel? I can imagine it would have enough momentum as a brand name that people would see it.
Yeah. Well, it's successful enough to have got a Blu-ray release.
Okay.
In 2023.
Yeah, this is a very clean copy on YouTube. Yeah.
Yep. This is put out by a Beijing-based Blu-ray studio called Disc Kino.
Right.
Mostly specialises in Chinese cinema, obviously, so popular enough to get a re-release.
Yeah.
Go figure. The director, Zhang Jianya, he's a member of what they call the fifth generation of Chinese directors, so he's a contemporary of Chen Kaige and people like that who graduated in the early 1980s. However, he is not in Chen Kaige's league. And I don't think he's directed much lately. He hasn't directed anything since about 2014. In lieu of trivia about the film, I'll talk a little bit more about what happened to Zhang Leping after 1949.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about it last week. In the early 1950s, while Sanmao was really popular, the authorities at the time, the communists were not prepared for him to just continue writing the Sanmao stories the way he had been. So he was, as we mentioned, he was interrogated and his work was criticised for being lacking class consciousness.
Yeah.
As we discussed, among other things. He wasn't happy about that, and as I mentioned, he defended himself. But he knuckled under and started publishing more Sanmao comics, and as I said last week, they artistically they're not considered to be very significant because he was plainly being censored.
Yeah.
So that you can listen to some of the titles of the stuff he published after 1949. Sanmao buys government bonds.
Okay.
Sanmao welcomes the liberation.
Yeah.
Sanmao's denunciation, where he participates in a public denunciation of class enemies.
Wow.
Yeah. There was also a series called Sanmao Stands Up. Another thing is, a lot of this stuff was after 1949. He would write his new Sanmao stories were all set before 1949 because that was when it was safe to have an orphan and things like that. Because he can't be an orphan in the post 1949 era because that's when society is becoming perfected. Yeah. There's this one called Sanmao Stands Up, which is set during the Second Sino-Japanese War, but instead of being about satirizing society of the time, it's all about external enemies. So it's how wicked the Japanese are, then how wicked the Americans are in coordination with the Kuomintang. Then later then after liberation he becomes a snitch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And starts denouncing counter-revolutionaries.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, and as I said, in the comic, Sanmao welcomes the liberation. This is where he's retconned as a communist all along. So it fixes the problem with his background, where he was a vagrant, a beggar, which are not a bad thing to be. No hero can be a beggar because a beggar lacks class consciousness and is dependent on charity from capitalists. Yeah. Identifies with capitalists and not with their own class. Yeah. So instead of doing that, he's working for the liberation. He's staging marches, he's joining protests, and at the end, finally, he's adopted by a revolutionary family. Wow. Literally adopted by the the new status quo. Yeah. The sad thing is, a lot of even his pre-1949 comics got, as I mentioned, rewritten. Right. Like adapted. So they would, even his Sanmao's Wandering Life, they went back and they would and when it was republished in like 54 and 59 and in the decades afterwards, the censors would delete any non-political strips. So anything that was just a gag, gone.
Right.
Because it has to be about telling people how terrible pre-1949 China was.
Yeah.
People wearing Western clothing was deleted or modified. Unless they were class enemies, in which case they were allowed to keep wearing it.
Right.
But if it was a character that's just random or sympathetic, their clothing is changed to make them more working class or native Chinese clothing.
Yeah.
Not old-fashioned Chinese clothing, but something like a Sun Yat-sen style uniform. The bourgeois family that he was adopted by, they get made into a working class family. So the strips, and Zhang had to do this himself.
Yeah.
He had to go back and redraw his scripts, which must have been like a dagger in his heart. I feel for him.
Yeah.
And any conflict among the working classes taken out. So no strips where Sanmao's preyed upon by members of his own class. That's all taken out as well. He had to redraw all this stuff.
Yeah.
So he didn't like it. He was unhappy about it actually. And in 1956 there was a famous kind of political campaign called the 100 Flowers, which is where Mao became anxious about certain events that were occurring globally, like in the Soviet Union and in Hungary, and thought that society, the artistic elites like the intelligentsia, could let off a little steam if they were allowed to express themselves a little more, if they were allowed to criticize the government, which they hadn't been allowed to do for like the last 7 or 8 years. Zhang participated enthusiastically in this, started drawing, started defending himself, started drawing satirical comics again. Then a year later, there's a big crackdown. Anyone that participated in this campaign, the 100 Flowers campaign, it was a mistake.
It's almost like bait.
There's been some debate if it was deliberate, but it just seems to have been like Mao didn't imagine the vociferousness of the kind of social critiques that were going to eventuate.
I see. Yeah.
And there was a big crackdown on all these people.
Okay.
Zhang survived, but many of his fellow... Well, when I say survived, no one was actually killed, but a lot of people would have been imprisoned or not allowed to work as a cartoonist anymore. Zhang was allowed to continue working as a cartoonist and was not punished, but a lot of his contemporaries were, and it would have been a really frightening experience for him. And from here on, he only toes the line. Not that it helped, because in 1966, when the Cultural Revolution occurs, he's persecuted as a consequence of that.
Right.
His artwork was burned, he had Red Guards running around his house, smashing his stuff, and he wasn't allowed to work.
Yeah.
He, at the end of Potsy's thesis, she mentions that his hair went white in those years.
Okay. A bit like our characters at the end of this movie.
Excellent point on which to end. Let's discuss, let's do our vote. So it's still a yay for me as far as the comics are concerned.
Yes, I like these comics even more than last week's. I think they're pretty good. By the way, these ones especially come with the English explanatory version if you want to look for that online.
Oh yeah. They were. I did rely on those. Yeah.
The movie, I think it's pretty clear. For me, it's a nay. I just found it a struggle, unfunny. It's really interesting. You know what? The other thing that I thought about, and this is an unfair comparison, is the Addams Family, because that incorporated gags from the comic.
Yep.
Single panel gags into a narrative structure in a very seamless way. And I'm not sure why this movie had some... I think the problem is there's no narrative structure in this movie. It's just everything is a set piece. Gag, gag, gag from the comic. Gag, gag, gag. That's 5 in a row. Then we have some Japanese planning or Chinese planning.
Yeah.
Some maneuver. We got to take out the artillery position.
Yep.
Next 5 gags in a row or something like that. It was just just clumsy.
This is not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
Tonally, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's particularly well directed.
Yeah.
Or shot.
Yeah. Agreed.
Choice of music is crazy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Adaptation, you've already begun to cover.
Yeah.
Nay. You can't just clumsily try to reproduce strips.
Yeah, staple them
and
together.
And call it a movie.
Yeah.
You gotta...
And then there's these weird dream sequences in there that are trying to hold this thing together.
Yeah, he's just written... The director wrote... I think he co-wrote the script. It says co-wrote on the English Wikipedia page. I'm not sure what that means.
I think he co-wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, he So he's written these sequences as filler, more comedy bits.
Yeah.
But They don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, a moment of levity.
Okay.
On the IMDb page for this movie, under the plot section, you can put keywords. Keywords, searchable keywords for the film. Here are the keywords that people have added for the movie.
Okay.
I don't know what this says about these people. Okay, the first one is army.
Okay.
Right, fine. But the second one, defecation.
Yes, because that kid taking a shit.
Then boy frontal nudity.
Oh my god.
Then boy rear nudity.
Oh my god.
Then boy pooping. Then shower. Then wipe. Then boy shower scene.
Oh god.
Who the fuck is searching for these tags?
Whoa.
Rear nudity, lake, and then finally China.
Wow.
What process?
Wow. Not only did they think those were the keywords, they went online and said, I need to add these keywords on IMDb.
Is there a
They're not
community
just
of
like
people
keeping
that
it to themselves.
keeping tabs on any movie where boys take a shit?
Yeah.
I don't want to know if that's the truth or not.
Crazy.
I'd like to finish with a quote from Zhang Leping.
Okay.
This is something he wrote in February of 1946 on the purpose of cartoons.
Okay.
He said, "Cartoons are both art and work, but they are not art for the sake of art, since they must include both style and content. A successful cartoon must inspire questions, criticize mistakes, analyze in a clear way its subject. It should be similar to an intelligent piece of writing, since it should allow its public to clearly understand the main issue. Even more, a cartoon should make people ashamed. It should give them a headache, making them cry without tears and laugh without making a sound. Cartoons are not the clown of the visual arts. On the contrary, they are the bugle that wakes up the world."
Wow.
And from that, what a nightmare it must have been to live under the...
Yeah.
Under
But
the...
what a fascinating couple of weeks we've had.
Yeah. And from that to cowed state actor.
Yeah.
And Sanmao goes from a mischievous child to a model communist citizen who never acts up.
Brutal.
And teaches you, for example, about good hygiene in the
Yeah.
comic called Sanmao's Diary. Potsy finishes her thesis, the final chapter of her thesis, with the words, "Sanmao's makeover from a naughty child to a model child mirrored Zhang Leping's transformation from a critic of society to a state artist." So remember, please, everybody, don't censor your cartoonists.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, please like, rate, review, subscribe, and share. You can contact us through the email address in the show notes or send us a DM, or you can leave a comment on our Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube, or Reddit. All those links are in the show notes. And please join our Patreon at patreon.com/comicbookmovieoblivion, all one word. That helps us with hosting fees and books and DVDs. And you can listen to our exclusive Patreon side podcast, Comic Book Movie Apocalypse, which is about comics-adjacent adaptations. Okay, next week, we are going to do The Adventures of Jane from 1949. There are 2 Jane movies. We're going to do 2 in a row. The comic strip was by a fellow named Norman Pett. It's a British comic. It was originally called Jane's Journal or The Diary of a Bright Young Thing. This is not The Adventures of Jane Arden from 1939, which is also based on a comic strip, which we will be doing at another time. This is The Adventures of Jane from 1949, not The Adventures of Jane Arden from 1939. Even I can't get it straight. If anybody's following along. There are lots of those Jane strips online, but we'll do our best to describe. Oh, by the way, the movie, I believe there's a colorized version on YouTube as well as the black and white version, if anybody is following along and wants to watch those.